Right off the bat, I want to say that this is a photo here on Weekly 50 that was not taken with my 50mm lens. So I just want to get that disclaimer out there. I took it with my 35mm f1.8 lens, but there's a reason I'm posting it here, and I'll get to that in a second. So a little bit of background about the photo. When I travel, which is when I got this picture, when I travel, I generally only take my 35mm lens, unless there's a specific reason, like I know I'll be taking some portraits or something. And when I got this shot, I had my D7100 and my 35mm lens, and I was on the way back home to a trip to Nebraska. I was visiting a friend whose father had passed away due to complications from ALS, and the funeral was on a Friday, and I left to go home on a Saturday. I got up at 5 a.m., and my goal was to be on the road super early, and it worked. I was on the road before 6. I wanted to get home and see my family and also build in some extra time on my trip to take some photos. And it's a good thing, too. I stopped probably 5 times on the way home, which adds up. I mean, if you think about 5-10 minutes per stop, that's adding a little bit of time to the overall trip, which is why I left early. And that's the thing about taking a road trip. There's so many good opportunities to take photos, but you have to be willing to stop and take them. And that was the case here. I was driving on Highway 77 south of Lincoln, Nebraska, and the sun was just coming up over the horizon as I passed this grove of Christmas trees just south of Wymore, Nebraska. So if anyone out there is listening and you live in Wymore, Nebraska, you all have a pretty cool Christmas tree farm if you go look at it in the morning. I literally drove past this scene, what you're looking at here. I drove right past it. And I looked to the side of my car and I thought, wow, that would be a cool picture. And I kept on driving. And 10 seconds later, I found myself saying, you idiot, why not go back and take a picture? If it would make a really good picture, why not go get that picture? So I did. I quick turned around on the side road and I went back and I popped off several shots, maybe a dozen pictures. And I'm so glad I did. I really like this picture, especially with the fog over the trees, and you can see there's this mist on the ground, and you got the clear sky, you got the sunrise. I really like this picture, and it's not the kind of shot that I can really get in Oklahoma, and it's a shot that I almost missed entirely because I have no good reason. I was just lazy, and as I was driving past, I was telling myself, well, but I need to get going, and blah, 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 and I've already passed it, and no. Just stop and get out and take a picture. There's really no good reason not to. With this particular shot, there was plenty of light, so I took it at ISO 200, shot at f4 to get a nice wide depth of field. I moved around a bit, had to reposition myself a little bit, and I got my feet wet from the dew. Who cares? A few weeks later, as I'm recording this podcast that you're hearing now, none of that matters. But I really like the picture. And the lesson here then becomes, don't be afraid to pause and take some pictures, especially when you're traveling. What's the worst that could happen? You'll lose a few minutes of travel time. Who cares? But what's the best that could happen? You could get some really awesome photos. And that's why I'm posting this picture here, even though it wasn't taken with my 50mm lens. The whole point of the blog from the beginning was a continual exercise in helping me improve my own photography skills. And that's exactly what happened here. So even though it was not shot with my 50, it was taken with the 35. I hope that's okay that I post it here. I rarely make exceptions to that 50mm rule, and this is one of them because it's such a powerful reminder to me of why you just have to stop sometimes and get the shot. Even if you're on a road trip, it doesn't matter. Just stop and get the shot. Also, if you're going to do that, don't take main roads like interstates. Side roads and little known highways, those are much cooler for getting photos like this.